Welcome to Professional Spotlight. Will AI make any changes, or it will give value to engineers, or it will be less value for the engineers?
I don't think AI is going to completely replace an engineer because an engineer, as you know, have to not only just depend upon data or algorithms. He need to use his thinking and decision making. So AI will support him rather disturb him. I would say that AI, like artificial intelligence, you can do a analyzing of all the data, and you can do the repetitive works quite quickly, and then help an engineer to take the right
So
decision.
it will not reduce any value for the
Definitely,
engineers.
no, it's not going to
Okay.
reduce the value.
And what do you think after 10 years, which job will be upcoming or emerging, which don't exist today?
See, I can't judge what is going to be the job after 10 years, but looking at the current trend, I can say that a lot of job related to AI, artificial intelligence, is going to come up. As I mentioned, that engineering job is going to be there actually, but then more and more the repetitive jobs like the calculations or data or design generations and things like that can be generated using AI. But whereas the engineer, he will look at these things and then will decide what is best for the environment, what is best for the end client. So jobs like AI human management is on the rise in the next 10 years. That's what I see.
Can AI can replace human judgment in any projects?
Definitely no, because AI can only generate more and more datas, more and more calculations, more and more designs if you wish to. But what is good for the end user, what is good for the client, what is good for the environment, what is good for the public, this has to be decided individually using the expertise and using the capability of an engineer. So he can use these AI to conclude or to decide, but AI cannot do completely replace an engineer's job.
Can I brief introduction about yourself and your journey in engineering field?
Sure. So my name is T.N. Krishnakumar. I am currently owner of a couple of companies here in UAE as well as back in India. For me, I have an experience of more than 37 years in electrical power, transmission and distribution. My engineering journey started with me joining engineering College of Engineering Trivandrum in 1984, and I completed in 88 with BTech degree in electrical engineering. Further to that, I did my MBA from Pune. I did my MBA from IMDR, and I also did export management from Symbiosis Institute of Management, Pune. And then I started my career with Larsen and Toubro in Mumbai as a branch engineer. So I continued until 95 in India in the switchgear field. Again, same electrical transmission and distribution field. And then left India in 1995 and joined a company in Muscat, Oman, who specialize in oil and gas applications. So currently they are all called as Eaton. At the time it was known as Holak Bidden Spanning and Holak Lag Spanning with Bhavan Engineering Company. So we started our career in Oman, specialized in oil and gas and electrical distribution networks. Then I moved to UAE in 2001 and I joined a French company known as Schneider Electric. So I joined as a UAE manager for Schneider Electric in the medium voltage switchgears, and within 1.5 years I moved to the head office in Dubai, and then was responsible for 3 countries: UAE, Oman, and Bahrain. So that I continued until 2006. 2006 I joined Arriva TNT, another French company, as a Middle East regional manager. I was reporting to Paris, the headquarter of Arriva. Arriva, it's a French government company. They are into uranium enrichment, uranium mining, nuclear power reactors, and they do nuclear power reactors back in India too. So I'm here in the electrical transmission distribution segment, was heading the Middle East region and reporting to Paris. And then until 2011 I continued. 2011 I joined GE, General Electric. Originally it was known as Edison Electric. It's the famous Thomas Alva Edison's company.
Okay.
So I joined as a global leader for oil and gas petrochemical. I was reporting to US in Connecticut. Continued until 2018. And then I joined ABB, another Swedish company, as a Middle East regional head for the EPIS division. Continued until 2022, and I started my own. It's mainly, to also look at my passion. I have some few luxury resort back in India, so I just need to manage both. So I started my own company here in UAE, doing consultancy work in the electrical power projects, as well as looking after my passion back in India.
That's great. You are a very experienced person in the field of engineering. And who inspired you to become an engineer?
For me, I'm actually coming from a chartered accountant family.
Okay.
I love mathematics actually, and I love accounting.
How this connected, a chartered accountant and engineer?
So we are from a chartered accountant family. The first chartered accountant family in Kerala is been established by
So
my
you want to change
great-grandfather.
from the chartered accountant to
So there, if you really look at, we have roughly about 40-50 chartered accountants in our family. So I'm the first non-CA moved into engineering.
Wow.
And I just want to move and do engineering at the time in 84, 88. And also one of my cousin helped me, in the decision making, because he too went into engineering. So he was telling me about engineering rather than CA. So went into this because I believe engineers are the builders of the nation. So wherever you go, they actually drive, the country wherever you are, and to drive into prosperity, drive into betterment of people around, and drive into the comfortness of people around you. So a place like UAE, the Gulf countries, so the time they were all developing, so this was the right choice for me, and I moved in here, and I still continue here.
That's great. So which field you specialized in? You told electrical engineering, right?
So from beginning, I started with Larsen and Toubro until ABB, all throughout Schneider Electric.
So you specialize in electrical engineering?
Pure electrical power, and that too in transmission distribution. This has been my expertise. So things like switch gears, protection switch gears, or transformers, both power and distribution transformer. This has been my expertise all through
Sir,
this year.
as a grade 10th student, what is engineering? Simple way.
Engineering is something which helps you plan and execute projects. See, anybody can do things. Okay, I am not trying to look at others in a small way or bad way. Engineers or the engineering will give you a capability to do proper planning and execute your planning in the right way. So the skills like whether it is construction or whether it is mechanical, whether electrical, anything, whatever you see, engineering background or the education will give you a more perspective, to how you should do your projects. When you say planning projects and move forward in your, in your future.
So when the students understand engineering is a vast sector. So there are many type of engineers, and how we can specialize, what all the engineering fields are there in the engineering field?
See, originally, I'm talking about maybe 30-40 years back.
Okay.
Originally, there were only 3 engineering branches at that time.
From 30 years to now, what all changes?
I'm going to say. So originally, if you look at it, was civil engineering, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering. Okay. These were the 3 mother engineering branches at that time. Okay. And further to that, engineering field has evolved. Actually, you can see from civil engineering, architect have come actually. Architecture. Okay. So they are specialized in designs actually. If you look at electrical and electronics has come up actually. Electronics and communication. From electronics, it has again come to applied electronics and computer science And if you look at mechanical engineering, they further developed into industrial engineering, chemical engineering, production engineering. Today there are a lot of engineering branches available in a completely different than what you see about 40 years back. Even today you have branches such as AI, and also there are robotics and things like that. There are very advanced types of engineering branches too available today, which significantly change the life of an engineer today in all over the world.
Okay. So how do engineers solve real world problems?
Engineers look at things in a completely different way, rather than you go. How do you normally a person do look at things is he have an objective and he need to meet that, so he straight away jump into and then start constructing. An engineer, he does planning, he do design. So even before he look at the project, there will be things like design. There will be specifications made actually. So each of these equipment or each of the process, how it should look like. So there is a proper design in the place. Once all design is done, once all planning is done, then the next stage, which is known as execution. And they look at for capability. So when you say capability, they it's through various contractor. You call it as EPC contractor, engineering procurement contractor, or maybe main contractor, or maybe MEP contractor, and things like that. There are different types of. So you get through that thing, and the engineers will help in each segment. So the whole big project is bifurcated into various aspects, whether it is mechanical or whether it is electrical or whether it is civil, whether it is plumbing. It could be anything actually, and then they subdivided into various things and expertise into various engineering, get into each of these applications, look at things. So it's rather than a common man, simple person get into and start looking at a project, engineering will help you in making the whole process bifurcated into small pieces, and then look at things in much more detailed way to ensure you get the right output.
You think there is no any high engineering sector or low engineering sector? All you mentioned the sectors are equal. In the job wise, everything is equal, right? All the engineering sectors, electrical, mechanical, anything is comes.
Every engineering field is equal today. I would say that whatever you do, you be the best. That's all. Very simple thing. You can be a very good electrical engineer, you can be a very good electronics engineer, you can be a very good computer engineer, you can be a very good mechanical engineer. You choose the branch what you want to.
Because it is not demand that everybody should learn artificial intelligence only.
Not at all. Not at all. See, artificial intelligence is a very upcoming branch. There is no doubt about it. But then at the same time,
we also record other engineers.
Definitely. Also, you think purely with artificial intelligence, a project or things cannot be constructed.
Correct.
Like, you will need a very good civil engineer, for example. You will need a very good architect, actually, for you to design, the design of a building. You need a great mechanical engineer to, think about the structures, how you are going to construct.
So why there is a mindset has to change. Otherwise, all things that, only artificial intelligence is going to emerge. So everybody go and learn artificial intelligence. So no other branch, and the other branches are less seats. No students are coming, then it will be difficult.
Now that's a very wrong judgment. I would say every branch of engineering. Again, it depends upon the individual, the person. The boy, the student who's taking engineering, what's his aptitude? So you cannot push everyone into one thing, saying that no, today AI is coming up, so you go and do it. So in such cases, you will see that child, the student fails, in his pursuance of his career. What you should do is that what is his liking? You just allow him to think and then choose the right branch of engineering and let him take whatever you take. Let him be the best actually, and specialize and an expertise into that field.
So what skills students should learn before pursuing engineering?
I would say it's mainly hard work. Okay, and
any particular skills they have to be learned.
That's what I say. There is no uh, there is no hard and fast rule that the engineering students have to be like that. If you really take engineers in particular, you can see different types of people. But again, my advice to student who want to take an engineering course is, you need to be ready for hard work actually.
Okay.
You need to have.
It is not an easy task.
No, it's not at all an easy task actually, because the 4 years of engineering, it will take you through the basics actually. So you learn the basics. Once you learn the basic, you have to look at putting them into application. See, whatever you learn theoretically, not enough. Like for example, let me explain you what as an electrical engineer will think. People, they talk about AC and DC, alternative current and direct current.
Okay.
Have you ever able to see AC or DC? You will never be able to say. They will only say AC is sine wave, DC is straight. You have to imagine, you have to say that, okay, and then start thinking how you can put them into application, how an electricity is using a motor to drive, or how you can move, things, how you can generate power, or how you can transmit power, how you can distribute power, and things like that. So you need to use a lot of your application into whatever you learn, and then come to really constructive field to really deliver whatever you learn actually.
So in that, I need to add, can an average student can become a successful engineer?
100%. It's with the determination
Okay.
and hard work and honest hard work. A very common person can become a good engineer.
So they need to focus any subject in the schools? They need to focus?
I would say that in engineering normally they look at 4 subjects mainly.
Okay.
One is main and most important thing is mathematics and physics and chemistry. So these are the 3 basic things everybody will say. I would say that if you are looking at engineering, focus on these 3. And I would also say biology, because today there are a lot of engineering field related to biology. It's biomedical engineering, biotechnology, things like that. So look at all the 3 science languages, the science streams and mathematics if you want to become a good engineer.
So do you think aptitude, career personality and interest and motivation, that decide a person's career?
Exactly. That alone will decide a person's career actually.
So that is one of the reason we have seen many directors, actors who are come out from the engineering background.
Correct.
Why it happened that?
Because maybe their passion would have been different. It's a sheer pressure from their parents. I can say that, look at today there are quite a lot of film actors actually have
Yes.
completed engineering and went into a field
And
then
even they
doing
completed engineering. Then they
completed
passed.
engineering, but they found their passion in
Yes.
in movies, in film industry, so they went into that actually. So frankly speaking, they should have used their time into studying film,
Yeah,
rather than engineering. They didn't for
So
it.
there is a
So,
gap in the society
there
that
is.
there is no proper guidance
Yes,
actually.
there is.
Even the peer pressure, parents,
So
society pressure.
So this is where the role of education consultant like you come into picture. Give the right direction to the student, what they should choose, what they should not choose actually, based on each student. So every student is different actually. You can't just say that all students are the same. Everybody have to study AI, or everybody have to study computer science, or everybody have to become a doctor and things. Not like that. Everyone is different actually. So a educational consultant will be able to assess them in detail, and then suggest them how they can move forward in their in future career.
That's one of the example we can see during the corona time. People are sitting at home. We have made a lot of creators, content creators in the YouTube. They have only mobile. They have started. After 2 years, they become super rich rather than very educated students. So it is not that we have to be only focused on engineering or medicine. If you have the skill, you can explore.
100%. See, I said in the beginning, there used to be a time there was only engineering or
Okay.
medicine or chartered accountants. Every parent want their children to be. Today it's not like that. Today there are lots of field. It's not at all engineering, non-engineering or anything. You can become a very good chef you do food management or catering, you become the best chef, and you are in big demand today. You want to become a good cricketer or a sportsman, you be the best guy, and you can excel in your field. And the same thing is for the art. Actually, for you want to become a good musician, become a good singer, or maybe a good an instrument player, whatever. So, but whatever you do, you become the best. That's all. So there is no second thought for that. Actually,
Correct.
you can choose any field. Like you say that YouTube content creator, he actually did their job perfectly, and then you see the result. They all have actually succeeded and become big entrepreneurs today. So it's very simple. You do the best, and the result is in front of you.
Sir, how can students can choose engineering field? Different field are there. Now they can choose it. What basis they have to choose specialization?
See, engineering, I mentioned today there are different branches of engineering.
Okay.
Okay. Now, every student has a liking actually where he want to. So, what sort of a thing? So, let's say that in some of the student would like to pursue his career in oil and gas field.
Okay.
So there is petroleum engineering available.
Okay.
There is a maybe a student who's very creative in constructing things. Actually, he can see, I'm just giving you some example.
Yeah.
He's very good in construction activity, or he likes to appreciate the buildings and the things like that. So maybe he can become a good civil engineer, or maybe there could be somebody who's very good in designs. Actually, there are different. See, people will construct based on the designs actually. So he can become a good architect actually, or somebody who's interested in electrical power actually. So today there is a big shortage of the power engineers in all over the world actually, because you see, as you mentioned in the beginning, many of the electrical engineers, when they passed out, they just passed out and they moved into computer science or IT or AI. Correct. So this, what happened? This has brought a huge shortage of power engineers in the world actually. So if you are a good power engineer, you are in big demand. Similar way, there is also a mechanical engineer, a very good mechanical engineer. Look at every company, every organization, every industry. Without a mechanical engineer, you just can't move things. So there is demand in every of the field. But as I mentioned, you be the best in your field, whatever you choose.
Okay. And another thing, when we are choosing a college for engineering, what all things they have to take care before selecting any college?
So engineering colleges, if you're looking at, you have to look at few things, okay? As an NRI, or as a NRI based here in the Gulf, I can say that mainly we have 4 types of education. Actually, we can look at. Okay. One, back in India. When I say India, every state, we have some of the best universities and colleges available based on your choice, your interest. Okay. So I will tell you the differentiation. Okay. There are some very good universities available today in UAE, in Dubai, okay, in Knowledge City, or in Academic City. They are available. In the same way, there are quite a lot of very good universities and colleges available in Europe today.
Oh,
okay. And these European colleges are very famous for a different field actually. And then the last sector, I told you the 4th one, that's US and Canada actually. So all these places there are different pros and cons actually. Okay. I will start with the US and Canada. This is the university which is the most costliest, most likely. There are a lot of Ivy Leagues universities available with very high fees structures actually. Okay, and then it is lesser in Europe, and it's little again lesser in UAE or Qatar, Doha, Qatar. They have some universities, and much cheaper back in India. So based on your money availability, I would say that how much money is available for you to spend for the education. You can choose and I was just giving you one criteria. Okay. Today, there are education loans available. So, really speaking, money is not a constraint for you. But again, for a parent or for a student who's worried about the money part, this is one of the aspects you can look at choosing this. And second thing, again, all of you as each individual student, they will have a dream of becoming what actually they want to pick up. So each of these fields, let's say computer science, I'm just giving you an idea, or artificial intelligence. There are universities available in all the 4 segments. Let them do a proper search into these all 4 segments. You will know, you will see the pros and cons, like getting a job possibilities, getting a job immediately after the the course completion and things like that, or getting a exposure. So these sort of things again the students should look at. These are the few suggestions I would say. But then there is today the world is so open. You have an enormous opportunity to study.
So
Back
are marks are only the factors for a successful engineer?
No, definitely no. Definitely no. Marks are just one indication, again, where he's going and what he's missing. But attitude it makes a big difference actually.
Okay.
Wherever you go, I've seen people who are a big failure in the engineering, came out, they become successful and very successful entrepreneurs. So it's not mark alone or intelligence alone will, help an engineer to pursue further his career. But most important thing in his life is the attitude and attitude of him, how he look at the life and the challenges ahead of him.
Okay. And how important is internship for engineering students?
Internship will help actually the student while studying.
So
okay?
they have to take it seriously.
They will take it seriously, and I mentioned you, engineering is giving you a theoretical, experience to that.
Correct.
Okay, so they are not being exposed to the real world of work actually.
Correct.
Culture. So internship will help them in bring them back. Instead of putting them directly into a job possibility, internship maybe for 1 month or 2 months, give them a feel about a job actually, how an organization is going to be, what sort of a jobs are being expected. Okay, so in a company, in a huge industry, there is also R&D, there is production, there are finance, there are human resources, there are operations, there are maintenance, there are designs, things like that. There are various departments. So when internship, I think the student,
Okay.
whether it is a boy or girl, when they go through, various organizations, they will get a feel about these departments, and then they can choose where they want to further pursue their career. It will help them in, developing their career.
So what certification will help engineering students to upgrade? Any certifications for that engineers?
So engineering today, different companies. Again, it all depends upon where do you want to further you go and end up. Like if you are looking at, let's say that if you're looking at an IT company, and I'm sure what they are looking is completely different than a mechanical company or a civil company. So it all depends upon where do you want to
So
land
where
up.
you want to excel?
Where do you want to excel? And today it's possible. Like for example, if you want to become a good project manager, there are PMP certifications available.
Okay.
So it will help them in planning, do a project planning. Or there are certification available in IT actually. They to become a good IT engineer. There are various things they are all learning in the engineering courses, but to specialize them into further, there are different courses in IT field. So they can pick up that too. In AI, for example, you want to further take it up into AI, there are further courses available. So it's up to the individual where he's going into, and then choose the additional courses.